89% of people think that they're not going to have enough money to live the retirement that they want. That's nearly 9 out of 10 Kiwis silently thinking that they're behind. So in today's video, you're going to learn the 5 signs that you really need to invest more. But these signs, they're not just warning lights, they are your next steps. Each one of these shows you exactly how to level up from level 0, where you're still living paycheck to paycheck, all the way up to level 5, where you're financially free with a portfolio that grows while you sleep. Hey friends, welcome back to the channel. I'm Ed, an economist and property investor here at Opus Partners. At level 0, you're the spender. You've got a job, your pay lands in your account, and then poof, it's gone. Bills, groceries, nights out, you've spent it all. And that's okay. We actually all start out here because no one sits you down and teaches you how to be good with money at high school. But the mistake that most people make when they get their first job is they think that the money will just pile up in their account. And they'll say things like, well, if I can afford to save, then if I don't spend all my money, it will just start accumulating in the account. And that never works out that way, because that is literally the system you'd use if you didn't want to save anything. So there was this American economist, guy called Richard Thaler, and he got 2 groups of people. For group 1, he gave them $500 and he said, here you go, spend it however you want. Then he gave group 2 the same $500, but this time he said to them, this is a savings bonus. It's for your long-term goals. And what happened? You know the drill. Group 1, they spent the lot. Group 2, even though they could technically spend it all, they were way more likely to save it. Now, why was that? Just simply because they said, this is money for savings, and that made them treat that money differently. And you can apply the same thinking to your own life. But if all your money is going into one account and you've got that mindset of, I'll just save whatever's left over, that is a sign you're at level 0. You're the spender, and you probably should invest more. But how do you get up to level 1? It's really simple. Just have a separate bank account for your savings and investments. Because then, just like that second group in the economic study, you're saying, this is money for savings. I shouldn't spend it. Now, it is simple, but that's enough to take you from level 0, the spender, up to level 1. Because at level 1, you're the dabbler. You've got a separate account for your savings and investments, and nice work, by the way, and you put money into that account when you can. But we've still got a problem. At this level, you're still treating your savings like leftovers. You're still in that mindset that your money comes in, you pay the rent, you buy the groceries, spend a bit on fun, and if there's anything left, that's what gets saved. Now, the good news is, once you tuck those savings away and you transfer money into your savings account, you probably don't touch it. But let's be honest, at this stage, there's really never much left over to save. And that's because if there is money sitting in your main bank account, most of us, we feel a bit richer than we are, and when we have that feeling, you do get Uber Eats for the second time that week, or you do grab that extra $6 oat flat white today, or you tap your card a few more times than you meant to at the supermarket, and by the end of the week, what's left to save? Maybe $12.47. Now, that's not wealth building, that's dabbling. So the sign that you need to invest more is if you only manually transfer money into your investment account here and there when you can. Here's how to get to the next level. We stop saving what's left over and we start paying ourselves first. So what I want you to do is to automate your savings. So the day after I get paid, my money gets split out automatically. A chunk goes into my investment account, a chunk goes into my mortgage account, a chunk goes into the joint account with my wife, and then I can spend whatever's left guilt-free because I know that I've already looked after future Ed. Now, here's the truth. Don't fool yourself into thinking that you're going to be the smart one who can just transfer money over manually every time you get paid from wherever you get paid into your savings account. You honestly won't do it. You've got to make it automated, and it only takes a few minutes. Like literally before the end of this video, you could go into your online bank, you could set up an automatic transfer on the day you get paid, you could route that money straight into a separate savings account and give it a fun name like Spain Summer Fund or the Future Me Fund, and by the end of this video, you could already be at level 2. Because at level 2, you're the committed saver. You're not just saving what's left over, you've built a system. You get paid, and then you automatically move money into your investment account. And people often say to me, Ed, but I'm bad with money. You're good with money, or that person over there is really good with money. I'm not like that. And they act as if being good or being bad with money is a personality trait that you're either born with or without. No, saving and investing is like a muscle that you've got to build. So no one walks into the gym, having never worked out before, with great Hulk-like muscles. You start small and then you grow. And as soon as you realize that investing and saving and being good with money, it's a skill you learn. Well, once you realize that, you can stop beating yourself up for your past money mistakes and you can start working on your new investing muscles. And if you've got to level 2, the committed saver, at this point, it's not about whether you save anymore. You're actually doing it. It's about whether you're saving and investing enough to get where you want to go. So at this stage, a lot of people ask me, well, am I saving enough to be financially free? Now, if you read all of the different personal finance books, they all say different numbers. Some say you should save 10% of what you get paid. Others say 20%. Others say more. Personally, at level 3, I like to keep it simple. And I think the next sign you're not investing enough is if you're saving less than 10% of your take-home pay, and that's excluding your KiwiSaver. So let's say that $1,200 hits your bank account every single week from your pay. Aim to move $120 a week automatically from your main account into your investment or savings account. Now that could go to a lot of different things. That could be a property investment top-up. You could be investing that in shares. That could be savings. But just keep in mind, whatever you're investing in, this is a ballpark. It's not one size fits all. Like if you're a uni student, you probably have very little money, so you might not be able to save anything. If on the other hand, you're 50, your kids have left home and you're at your peak earning age, you might be able to save way, way more. So use your own brain here too. But if you're saving 10% of your take-home pay or more, and you're moving it automatically, you've moved up to level 3, the intentional investor. And just to show you that I actually follow these rules and systems too, I'm putting aside about 20 to 25% of my take-home pay right now. Not because I'm perfect, but because I don't have kids, and investing is one of my main priorities. Now, the amount that I'll save will drop off when I eventually have to pay for daycare, which I hear is very, very expensive. So 10% isn't a hard and fast rule, but you also need to keep in mind that I didn't start saving the amount that I do now. I started out deep in over $16,000 of credit card debt at basically level -1, and I've gradually built my investing muscle and become better with money over time. So I really mean it when I say start small, just like everyone does, and build it up over time. And if you can get to automatically saving or investing over 10% of your pay, you are now at level 3. And now that you are that intentional investor, you're saving consistently, you're automatically putting away 10% of your take-home pay. And when I say saving, by the way, or investing, to me they're the same thing. To invest, you've got to not spend all your pay each week, so effectively you're saving. And if you're saving, you've probably got to think as well about investing it so you make more money over time. Either way, at this level, you've got the basics covered. And at this point, you're probably wondering, well, how am I going? Have I built up enough wealth for my age or for my income? Because of course, if you're older, you've had more time to build your wealth. And if you're on a higher income, you've also got more opportunity to invest. So I think your net worth should really reflect that. Now, when I was 15 years old, I was lying in the Dilworth School sick bay, and I picked up a book that really changed my life. It was called The Millionaire Next Door. And in it, I came across this idea of the wealth equation, which is just a very simple formula to check if you're on track to become a millionaire next door. Now, it's not perfect, but stick with me on this. What the book says is that your target net worth should be your age multiplied by your income divided by 10. So let's say that you're 40 and you earn $80,000 a year. Well, your target net worth should be $320,000, assuming that you want to become a millionaire next door, and not everybody does. Now, if your net worth is above that, you're a prodigious accumulator of wealth. Basically, you're ahead of what you might expect to be. Now, if you're below that number, you're an under-accumulator of wealth. And now, if you are in that position, an under-accumulator of wealth, that doesn't mean you're a bad person. It just means that you've got some ground to make up if you care about following this formula. Now, I like to make a small tweak to this because if you're under the age of 40, because your wealth grows over time, you haven't had as much time to build up your wealth yet. And so I like to make a tweak and use this formula instead. And basically that means that if you're 35 and earn call it $100,000 a year, your target net worth is about $233,000. If you've got less than that, well, that's the fourth sign that you might want to invest more. Now, I've got a bit of a love-hate relationship with formulas like this. I mean, on the one hand, they're not personalized to your goals or your life stage. But on the other hand, I often find that people want a quick litmus test, a quick check-in, just to see if they're on track. And I think this is probably the best formula I've come across to give you that quick litmus test. So if you run the numbers and your net worth is where the formula says it should be, congratulations, you've reached level 4, the Wealth Accelerator. And at this point, you should be pretty chuffed with yourself. You're just one level off getting towards level 5 of being on track to be financially free. But to get to that final level, we've got to have a very honest conversation with each other. I think where a lot of Kiwis go wrong is that we've all got this picture in our heads of what we want our perfect future to look like. You might imagine summers in Spain, retiring early, upgrading the car every few years, or just simply living a really comfortable life, perhaps in a small town and living simply. Now, if we're going to get to that fifth and final level, we've got to be honest with ourselves and ask, do I have a plan, a written plan for how I'll get there? Because surveys suggest that only 3% of adults have written goals and a written plan. Now, most people just follow a few ballpark rules and hope that their wealth will all work out. And that was kind of the case with the wealth equation and all 4 of the levels we've been through so far. I mean, the wealth equation doesn't know if you want to spend summers in Spain or live a much more simple life. So to get to level 5, to get to the stage where we're on track to becoming financially free, you've got to figure out what that means for you and if you're on track for the lifestyle that you want. And stick with me on this because I don't mean this in some sort of woo-woo way. This is where the idea of the wealth gap comes in. And a wealth gap is a concept I introduced in my book, Wealth Plan, and it just asks a simple but very, very powerful question. Based on what you're doing right now, are you on track to reach your financial goals? And that sounds straightforward, but it's actually really hard to calculate that in a robust and meaningful way. And that's why I built a tool that you can use to run the numbers for yourself. It used to actually only be available to my financial advisors at Opus Partners, but I really wanted to give it away for free, so now you can just use it yourself. Let me show you how it works. You log into Opus Plus, which is my free property platform, and let's say you're Peter and Sam, you're a pretty typical Kiwi couple, you're both 45, and between the two of you, you earn $120,000. Now, you've got a bit of money in KiwiSaver, and your current financial plan is just to pay off your mortgage, then live on the super, hope for the best. But when you run your numbers and plug in how much you want to spend in retirement, you actually see that you're about $500 a week short in retirement and you've got a bit of a wealth gap. So that's the amount of money you've got to save or invest so that you can live that lifestyle you want once you decide to stop working. And so if you do this, if you use this free calculator and you find you've got a wealth gap, your current investments aren't enough to get that lifestyle you want, that is the fifth and final sign that you need to invest more or adjust your goals. And from there, you can use this tool to either say, well, what are we going to do? Are we going to invest in shares? Are we going to buy an investment property? Are we going to save more? And once you figure out what that plan happens to be and you start doing it, that's how you know that you're at that fifth and final stage. You've figured out whether you should invest more and what you need to do next, not based on some generic rule, but based on what your goals are and what you want out of life. And if you do this, if you figure out that actually you do need to invest more or, nah mate, we're sorted already, well that's where you do move from being the Wealth Accelerator to level 5, being on your way to being financially free. And I'll drop a link below so you can create your own free Opus Plus account and then create a wealth plan. And once you've done it, you can even get it checked by a financial advisor to make sure that you've done it right. So now you know exactly where you stand and what to do next to start investing more. But if property is part of your plan, don't rush in just yet. Before you buy anything, there are 5 key numbers you need to know. Otherwise, you could end up with a deal that looks good on paper, but bleeds money in real life. And I break it all down in this next video.